celebrating together so joyfully. Words pour out from our kind souls. There is no place for inflated egos. This place is home to you and me. Surroundings familiar, a community. Let's write the words from our minds. All those adventures will be sublime. This group belongs to the member poets, caring and sharing those precious moments. Let's laugh together, then share some tears, emotions displayed without anxiety or fear. Quill and Parchment Society, elevating poets, honoring art, enriching souls, celebrating community.
Yes, it's talking time, Zach. Here we are again.
Hey, Bill.
Show. How you doing today, buddy?
Oh, I'm good. I was looking forward to this all week and ready to get into some poetry from our group.
Me too.
Yeah.
In a chair without wheels now, finally. Boy, I'm telling you, driving. You know, I went on that trip there to the wedding, and I was glad to get back and looking forward to doing this. So here we go. Who we got on the board? I see my buddy Brooks from Works there. Hey, Brooksy, how you doing? Zach, I know you haven't met him, but you've read a lot of poetry from me that was inspired by some of the artwork that Brooks did. He's somebody I've always appreciated interacting with.
I did enjoy that poetry. Remember that?
There's some stuff. It's always nice to have influences and stuff like that from outside.
From friends and elsewhere.
Yeah, exactly. Challenge your thought process. So we're doing some different things this week. We discussed in the production meeting, Zach, how we're going to
switch it up
introduce, a bit. And introduce our first poet of the month, our Parchie that made the first Poet of the Month entry, and he's on the board, on the big board there above the graffiti wall on the website, guys. That's where you'll see his name over the plaque that Yumpy created. And I want to give a shout out to Yumpy before we get started too far, how well organized this whole thing is with Poet of the Month and all the contests Yumpy's been running and doing a service for the group. It's a great, wonderful thing. Guys, get involved with them because he loves running them. We all love participation, and we all love that inspiration. Like I was
he was
talking
doing the logos too, right?
Yeah. He's really, really all in on it. Really doing a great job, for the group. So for anybody that is unaware, we're running a little monthly special thing where we choose a poet to honor, and the poetry is entered and discussed and commented upon and all that stuff, and us, it was the coordinators, have decided the poet of the month for this month is Mr. Mike Horsfall. So everybody, let's celebrate poetry, and let's celebrate Mike as our poet of the month as we lead off this show, because that's kind of what we're going to do here. Mm-hmm. We're going to read and comment on his poem, and we're going to share the comments that are written from all of the coordinators who read and commented upon that poem, and give the poet of the month a little bit of a highlight to lead off the show. And we're going to continue to do this every month for a new poet of the month from within the group. So it's a great honor, and we're so happy to do it. Remember, guys, we're not about competition. We're about celebrating poetry. So Mike is the poet and wrote the poetry that we're going to celebrate to lead off this show. Congratulations, guys. And I read all the entries. They were all spectacular, guys. And that's not me blowing smoke. I know, Zach, we were just talking about this.
We were.
It was like, oh, there was
such good quality across the board.
Good quality poems.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's see. Without further ado, are we ready to read that poem, Zach?
Oh, I wanted to direct everyone, first off, everyone's attention, Parchies and all those listening at home and elsewhere, to those are following along with the poems. You could, in the group, you could find them at the topics board on the very top where it says the Reading Podcast, episodes 3 and 4. You'll find it at the very top of the list. And, well, without further ado, let's get into Mike's poem.
See, once again, Zach, you kept me in line there. I forgot your little disclaimer that you needed to read to everybody so they knew where to go to read along with us.
All right, I'm going to pull up Mike's poem. All right. Hold on.
Guys, this is located in the Poet of the Month topic board where all those poems were.
Oh, there it is. I apologize. And this one is called Stars by Mike Horsfall. They woke to a quiet universe, a hearth of dawn in their throats, breath forms as constellations, 2 first names pressed into the skin of night. The room hummed like a distant galaxy, soft gravity pulling at their shoulders, hands finding the seam between pulse and possibility. They spoke in the language of freckles and moonlight, and the slow harvest of sighs, and skin that remembered the exact geometry of desire. The window opened to velvet black, and they leaned the sky by the slow map of their fingers, a kiss becoming a constellation drawn on a willing chest, a whisper turning tides inside their throats, the pulse of small satellites circling the ache of wanting. First gloves bloom with the raw breath of risk, not sure who will hold the flame when the cold comes, but sure enough to lean toward the ember. They learned one another the way comets learn their own tails. One bright sweep, a trail of warmth, then a quiet drift towards the edge where futures glow. The night grew intimate with them, as if the universe itself leaned in to listen, to learn the cadence of their bodies in the dark. They spoke in fingertips and soft groans, a galaxy of murmurs drifting across skin, tides rising in the hollow of wrists, stars pressed between teeth like a dare. But cosmic weather shifts with quiet arithmetic, gravity unbalanced, tides turning, and the room, once a cradle of ignition, becomes a ship with a slow, unaccountable drift. They watched the Earth turn, a pale blue map, and felt their orbit slide from the center, not with thunder, but with a patient letting go. The space between them stretched, an interstellar seam, not a rupture, but a widening horizon, where each breath gathered its own gravity, where the touch that once rang like a bell now echoes in a quieter, telescoped glow. Two bodies learning to orbit separate suns, two heartbeats marking different constellations. They lingered on the cusp of loss, where memory tastes of salt and iron, of rain on a window pane, in a night train, of skin that remembers the heat of another body, of the first rain after a long drought, and the way the world sometimes grows colder when love forgets its map. In the aftermath of drifting, there is space to adore, the version of the other that remains carved in the sky, the way their laughter once ricocheted off the moon, the fevered sweetness of breath and the hollow of neck, the late night heat that burned like a small, reckless sun, all now archived in a constellation of could-have-beens. If you look up, you will still hear the soft tremor of their whoosh, a meteor of two bodies choosing their own trajectories, not as a heartbreak, but as the honest drift of light. They become two satellites of the same universe, echoing in different orbits, still learning the language of touch, still listening for a pulse that might one day align or again forever remain apart. And somewhere out there in the vast, generous dark, the stars keep their secret. The first loves are not the end of the sky, but the first map the cosmos gives to two souls who learn to kiss in gravity and dream beneath the quiet, inexhaustible glow of space. End poem.
I kind of wanted to take a minute to absorb that one for just a second. What a lovely read, Zach. Good job. So I'm going to start off. I'm sorry, Zach. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just, wow. That was just, reading.
Boy, me too. I was wowing too. The first time we discussed it a little bit, you and I, off air before the show, and the first time I read it, I was like, "Oh boy, that's one." Mm-hmm. So I'm gonna start off with a little bit about Mike. Mike was one of the first Parchies to come in. I think he was in the first 20 to join the group, and we are so glad everybody's here and all that stuff. But having Mike as our first poet of the month to celebrate, it seems very fitting. This piece it's what we want to represent us as a group, and we all do so well writing and getting along and stuff like that. But this is a gorgeous piece. It's fairly lengthy, but it doesn't read long.
No,
that's one of the first things we talked about, wasn't it, Zach?
Yes.
Yeah, the length of this poem, and you don't even realize how long it is. 558 words is what it said in the author's notes. But at 558 words, it read like a breeze. Not quite like a haiku.
No. And it barely rhymes too, but like it's so smooth, and oh man.
So smooth. So smooth. Yeah, I agree. So we're gonna read the comments here. I'm going to start with his author's notes, and it's very simple. It says word count 558, prompt 9, rooming contest, written on September 22nd. So this was a fairly late writing in this contest cycle, but man, I'm glad we got it. So I'm going to start with comments in order from the folks that went through and read everything. And it looks like, let's see, mine's first because I'm on my login, so it shows my stuff first to me. So I'll start there. Probably the weakest comment, I'm guessing, of the group, but I'm going to start mine. The pace of this piece was exquisite to read. It did not feel contrived, forced, or unnatural at any point. At nearly 600 words, this piece was so engaging and held me close as I wanted the next line, phrase, and metaphor. It reads shorter than it actually is because of how dramatic it was. I really enjoyed how this was a beautiful metaphor for first loves and used the cosmic terms and thoughts to describe the feeling so well. Well done, Mike. This was a joy to read. Lovely. That's from Unexpected Bill, our own Zach, Hormone Erotica. The celestial imagery really sends the reader and the speaker's two lovers into orbit. There is a kind of ascension that allows them the time to love one another tenderly in ways that mirror how the skies are mapped. It's a kind of sensuality that does not feel overboard or smutty. This focuses on the magnetism and the connection between these two and their celestial surroundings. They both experience drift now that they are in space, and the zero gravity is a freeing sensation. Eventually, they go their separate orbits in an amicable way, still traveling the skies with the intention of being drawn together if that ever happens. But if not, there will be no animosity. It's a thoroughly interesting depiction of love and drifting apart, Mike. Good work. Great comment, Zach. That's the kind of stuff I'm used to reading from you. Very, very deep. Stargaze said, the space between them stretched an interstellar seam. This is a quote from the poem, not a rupture, but a widening horizon, where each breath gathered its own gravity, where the touch that once rang like a bell now echoes in a quieter telescope glow. Two bodies learning to orbit separate suns. Two heartbeats making different constellations. A sense of longing woven into the words of this poem as the two cosmic bodies adjust to living apart, leading not the same life. A separation that is not painful. It feels just near yet distant. It's great, great comment too. Now I'm scrolling on down. I'm finding Deborah Leo 5's comment. Mike, this is really stunning. Wow. And filled with so much incredible imagery. I so enjoyed the tone of the piece, filled with such a peaceful presence, even though the poem essentially ends with the lovers parting. I felt a sense of wonder and magic as I moved through it. My favorite stanza was the last one. I thought it was such a beautiful, lighthearted, and positive ending. Incredible work. Loved it. Let's see. We've got...
Lighthearted. I felt weightless reading it.
Yeah, it did. It was gravity-free, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yumpy's comment. This is a stellar piece. Literally and poetically, it reads like a celestial love story. Tender and immense, where intimacy and cosmic energy spiral together into something at once personal and mythic. You weave the macro, galaxies, comets, tides, constellations, with the micro, freckles, breath, wrists, size. This scale shifting makes the poem both universal and achingly personal, as if love itself is written in astrophysics. Your phrasing is lush and lyrical. A kiss becoming a constellation, drawn on a willing chest is the quote, or the quote, stars pressed between teeth like a dare. That line got me too, Yumpy. I agree with you. That one stuck out to me. It's not a heartbreak poem, but a gentle, wise acknowledgement of how love shifts. Clever piece. A celestial reflection on courage and vulnerability, exploring the shimmer of hope within cosmic vastness. The imagery balances humility and grandeur, turning the night sky into a mirror of human frailty. Judge's comment, a strikingly original concept, rendered with grace and emotional depth. The language feels both expansive and intimate. Each line polished like starlight itself, outstanding craftsmanship, and poetic restraint. That's a great comment. What a well thought out comment, and we all did so well. And let's see. Here's Merv's. A poetic meditation on a first love, stars. This piece uses celestial metaphors to trace its arc in the sky. It captures the initial intimacy and slow drift apart, ultimately seeing the experience not as a failure, but as a foundational part of life's journey. The epic story of life's lessons. Fantastic. This poem is an exceptional work. Its greatest strength lies in the sustained, intricate, and profoundly beautiful use of cosmic energy to discuss the life and disillusion of a first love. It is deeply original and rich in language and imagery. The structure flows organically, supporting a meaningful message that reframes heartbreak not as a disaster, but as a necessary shift in celestial orbit. Even better, second time of reading. Now, that very last line in his comment, I agree with 100%, as well as the whole comment. Is such great poetry demands great comments and great thought. But it was even better after the second time reading.
Oh, yeah.
It was. And I enjoyed listening to you read it while I was reading along, Zach. That's technically my third time reading it. So I went back to it again. It's a lovely piece. So that's what everybody that participated as far as the coordinators thought of that piece. And man, it was gorgeous, wasn't it, Zach?
Yeah, it was gorgeous in many senses of the word. I was taken by initially the ignition process. Sending them into orbit. There's an ascension. Not like a heavenly ascension, but as they're like loving one another, and that becomes what makes them ascend. Like that's like their fuel. And I just really enjoyed also the concept of gravity and magnetism and orbits and revolutions, and how like close they are initially, and once they become in zero G, they drift apart, which in life I think mirrors what happens in life sometimes between two people, and the way that's mirrored, written in the sky, throughout a series of metaphors, mapped in the sky like that, as they drift apart in orbit. I think that's a very natural sort of consequence to some of those initial first loves, and it's told in such a beautiful way.
It sure was. And the story he told there, using those metaphors, and a lot of us in our comments picked out how he used the grandeur of the sky and all these large, huge celestial things, and then went down to, intimate details of, small things. So there's a contrast to it. And also the way it read, the way it flowed, reading smaller than it actually was, shorter than it actually was.
Right.
That's hard to do, because when you get to reading, longer poems, epics, things like that, you can sometimes, lengthen it to a point where it feels unnatural. But this felt like it was a perfect transition, body, conclusion, everything just flowed so well together. And it had like some subtle rhyming to it in places that was really nice, like midline rhymes too. And midline rhymes are really tough to do, aren't they, Zach?
They're tougher than end rhymes.
Yes, they are tougher than end rhymes. Midline rhymes are tough to do, and he did them very well here. So, this being our inaugural Poet of the Month honor going out to Mike Horsfall. Well deserved, sir.
Absolutely.
Well done, Parchies. You guys, every single one of you that entered that Poet of the Month board and submitted to that, kudos to you guys. It was good stuff. Congratulations, Mike, on his victory, on the getting the plaque for the first time. Well done, and well done by everybody. We're doing what are we doing this week, Zach? We're doing episode 3, right? And we're back.
This is
to
episode 3. I think so. Yeah. This is episode 3, second round of picks from the reading list overall. For the two shows, or this show and the upcoming, I should say. Yeah.
Hey, let's do it when you're ready, buddy.
All right. First up, we have Wednesday in October, and that's Pining in an Empty Forest.
I pine sometimes for those long shadowed days that came before warning signs, when lost and then found, in words that don't fade. Can't say I wasn't moved. I was, weren't you? We swallowed lyrics whole, the rhythm, a pulse. It was us, painted in shades of blushing pink rose, sun-faded yellow, ocean waves, and deep green wood. In poem. Fun stuff there. That was fun stuff to read, Zach.
Wow. This pining in an empty forest. This is like there's such a yearning in this poem. And I feel like there's a personification going on with this. There's like like the self, I think, is being represented as a tree, almost, and this tree is wasn't a forest, or like pining in an empty forest. So I think this tree is alone, essentially, that used to have a forest around it, and I think that they were moving in unison to an extent. They used to commune together as a group of trees, and that was them. There's a sense of like wistfulness about it, as if it was in the past, especially because the title says pining in an empty forest. So I mean, like it's almost like if it's not even there, the tree, by the end of it, there's a sense of like, is it really there or not? Painted in shades of blushing pink rose, sun-faded yellow, ocean waves, and deep greenwood. I really like that ending stanza, especially. I think like it's reminiscent of a past relationship. It just,
that's where it took me to, Zach.
Yeah.
Yep. That's what I thought too, man. I thought you just touched on that right there with a past relationship, and I don't know that it was necessarily like a recent one either. But the word pining obviously takes you there to love lost and longing and wanting and stuff like that. And it seems like a past romance. And actually, the author's notes are short and sweet. They say, "Could we have grown together given the room?" ? So, I mean, it reinforces what you gathered out of it and what I gathered out of it too. There's, at some point in time, there was some sort of breakup where there was, loneliness and all that stuff. And then the reflection, this is very reflective. It's looking back and not necessarily in a harsh way, but just questioning, given the room, could we have grown together? And not knowing, because the room wasn't given. And that's why the pining is there. But the empty forest, that represents sadness and all that, and loneliness. And this little short poem really traveled pretty well over a long distance. Yeah. Without going on. Exactly, Zach. I really dug it. I did. It was easy to read too. Really, real easy to read. Flowed very well. So what do we got next, Zach?
Next up, we've got Strings by Aaron Farrow. He uses it all. The broken pieces will be made new. You're a mosaic, not less, but more. There's no part left behind. Nothing is wasted. Withhold your heart. Make it a pliable part. Let him hold those tears divine. It is going to see you through. So, let go what you thought you'd see state of the art. He has more in store, so wait patiently as he builds modern hues. He's going to paint you palomino, speckled for the view. There will be a new mindset, so analyze it but he's training you for a different view. It may sound diminished, but dig deep into the sinew. You're a new creature made perfect in his eyes. Put down your grievances, just to get a thankful sigh. It will be made perfect in his eyes. It's what we'd rather do. He loves you greatly. Be the who, who sings. Stop tugging at the hand holding. It's he that commands the strings. And poem.
Now that felt very worshipy in a way, but not very like hit you over the head, like preachy. It felt very, very spiritual and kind of loving and embracing, to the changes that are coming. And it mentions embracing them and, hold his hand and walk with them and all those things. And, you're only to assume the who is, but it says, let him hold those tears divine. I like that line. And there were so many neat little spiritual things in there that I felt were very genuine. There's a belief in things will be good if you just let them be good, and walk with the flow of things and don't fight it and feel the spiritual, it is a very, very good thing. And Joe just commented, I feel like they are referring to God. That's what it sounded like to me too. Without clubbing you over the head with it. That's the hard part of writing something that is a religious viewpoint or political viewpoint. You don't want to club people abruptly over the head with it. You want to introduce them to your feelings on the concept. And it's a beautiful, beautiful way to do it. This was soft. It was soft, spiritual, kind, and loving, and very, very interesting to hear and to read. What do you think, Zach?
This is really, in a sense, I think like the speaker is very, it just speaks to an open mind. I know that's kind of a generic term, but I mean, like open to the sense of like nothing will be wasted. Like everything will be used, open to like everything that can be used within life to kind of get through it. Potentially it can be used. And I like there's like a subtle rhyming going on with the ooze, with the assonance. I really like that, and it kind of makes it flow differently. And I really like the use of second person. In the poem, you're a creature made perfect in your eyes, all the uses of you. It feels like I'm being spoken directly, but I'm not being spoken down to. This isn't a condescending piece. I like, you hear like those, like being controlled. That's not what this is. This isn't like a marionette sort of like, like holding all the strings kind of mastermind behind the scenes sort of thing. This is like, this is a bit more honorable and what's the word? It's like it's
more spiritual than
spiritual,
anything.
right?
Yes,
more spiritual.
Yeah, more spiritual.
Yeah, it is, and I really like that. It and like I felt like the sense like of being propelled and being like not controlled, but like in the sense that everything would be okay if you just go along with a certain flow. Optimism, I think. Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, optimism. Right. That's well said, Zach. Well said. Yeah, I really enjoyed that too.
Yeah. I guess next up, we have Between the Drink and the Girl by Rain.
My guess is this probably won't be, just by the title and the picture, is spiritually optimistic. We'll see. We'll see when we get going here. He poured her name into a glass. Amber love, smiling through the burn. She lived inside every swallow. He stayed caught between drink and girl. He couldn't forget her, nor the burn. He loved her best when sober, but mercy burned like whiskey fire. She begged him to stay alive. He swore it on his bottle hands. Each touch felt like withdrawal scars, each glance a daily surrender. Faith drowned inside the empty bottles. Tonight he toasts his final drink, a tribute to both his sins. He swallows her love and his life. The bottle sleeps beside him tonight, while ghosts breathe through the empty glass. End poem. Well, it didn't let down, did it? The title did tell us something was coming, and it did.
This
How did you process that one?
Yeah, wow. I was struck by it pulled me in, the first stanza. That line, he poured her name into a glass. I think like there's a certain, it's like almost like the speaker, the he in the poem. There's a he's battling addiction, and he also has a loved one that's helping him battle the addiction. But I think the addiction is more powerful, and it's heart-wrenching. I think the one that caught me emotionally the most was probably the second one. Each touch felt like withdrawal scars. So I mean, that just there's like a self-loathing there. And for some reason, that's what gets me the most. And it's tragic ultimately. The personification of the bottle sleeping beside him, like it's used, like it's a comfort object, like it's like it's used to being there. That got me too. And there's a very unique turns of phrases throughout, and that this didn't you feel the, like you hear those phrases like drowning your sorrows and stuff like that. This is like this just sorrowful. And it didn't feel like it was the kind of love that felt like could last initially if the drink wasn't there, because he loved her best sober. So it makes me feel like it would have been something nicer if the drink wasn't there. It could have been something more. It's tragic.
Oh yeah, no, well said, Zach. So obviously, with the opening two lines, he poured her name into a glass. Amber love smiling through the burn. Clearly, it's about whiskey, is what it sounds like to me. I mean, there's really not any other conclusion you can draw. But overall, just through these three little stanzas here, Rain did so well. It reminded me so much of the movie Leaving Las Vegas with Nicolas Cage, where, he just decided his life was so tragic and he was an alcoholic and he wanted to drink himself to death. That was his stated goal. That's how he was leaving Las Vegas. He was going to have just that one party. But there was this odd kind of kindness to this poem that really kind of made it more palatable, I think, that, this person, alcoholic, I'm guessing, was that she's speaking of, from that perspective, was choosing this bottle, even though there's somebody that they love right there beside them, trying to, cheer them through it. But there's like an acceptance, and it was kind of sad, beautiful in that way. But I peeked down at the author's notes too, and the prompt was, there's no happy ending to cocaine. You either die, you go to jail, or else you run out. That's a quote from Sam Kinison, a notorious overindulger of many things. This poem reimagines that truth through a man whose two addictions, love and alcohol, become the same poison. So that's well explained, because she did a great job there, and our comments, I believe. He can neither give up the bottle nor the woman who lives inside every drink. His final toast is both confession and escape, proof that some cravings don't fade, they finish you. Beautiful. It was a beautiful piece. It really was.
All right. And next up, we have Play Doll by Agent. And I'll give that a read. Or did I read the last one? I'm sorry, I can't remember.
I got caught in the poem. I commented last, Zach. So that is,
So
if I commented last, yes,
right?
This should be yours.
Oh, okay. All right. I missed your phone call. Then I called you back again. You tell me to come over. There's some games we could play. I could walk in your house. Nobody's home. Just me and you and me alone. Are we just playing blindfolds? It's getting hard to breathe under the sheets with you. I don't want to play no games. I'm tired of your lies. You tell me every time you come close, talking weird shit. I tell you, you just want me, so I play your games. You say, I'm just tired. I should get some sleep, but I don't want to get drunk again. I wake up in her bedroom. Now there's nothing left to say. When I try to talk, you just want to play games. I wish I could speak over your voice. I wish I wasn't tired all the time. Are we just playing blindfolds? It's getting hard to breathe under the sheets with you. I don't want to play no games. I'm tired of your stories. You tell me every time. I don't give a damn about you anyways. Whoever said I care about you, you never gave me a hug or communicate. I'm just a play doll to you. I'm lost in your lies. I never know what you need. I'm lost in your stories. I want to give you what you need. I don't give a damn about you anyways. Whoever said I care about you, you never give me a hug or even communicate. I'm just a play doll to you. You know how I care about you every day? Guess it's time that I tell you the truth. If I talk with you, will you let me stay? Don't want to leave this play doll alone. End poem.
That's interesting. It's sharp. It's scathing. It's a rant is not the right word because there's deep thought to it. It doesn't seem just emotional. It seems like there's an undervalue of the person, that is speaking here. The speaker is saying, hey, look, I'm more than just a play doll, but that's how you're treating me. And I'm growing weary. I want more. So this is either, it's a break point in the relationship. One person is not fulfilled clearly, and it's stating it in their poetry and want to have this conversation. But I feel like they may be afraid of the conversation too, because they're afraid it will end up being alone. And that's a big thing. It's very, very interesting to hear the inner dynamics and inner workings of somebody's head when they're analyzing the relationship they're in and they're working through it. And that's really what this is. It's working through and making decisions on, what do I need to do to move forward here? What do I need to move forward? And is there any forward to move to? And there's some sharp, scathing portions of it, and anger and disappointment and stuff like that. So it runs the gauntlet of those emotions when you're thinking about, hey, is this relationship what I want? And it not being what the writer wants is what they're declaring there. And something has to change. It may not be tomorrow, but the conversation is going to happen, because this is where it starts. You work out the thoughts in your head, and then you have the conversation. Hopefully it's productive, no matter how it turns out. It's a great piece, though, because it definitely declares intentions and all that, and very emotional. What do you think, Zach? You read it. You read it well too, by the way.
Thank you. Yeah, this one, I really, it was like an inner monologue, or like it felt like a stream of consciousness. It felt like very, like a series of thoughts that were somehow written in a narrative. It read like the way somebody thinks out loud, in their heads. at least that's what it seems to me. I mean, there's bits of dialogue too, but also I could like sense that these are some inner thoughts, a stream of inner thoughts. It's just I wish we could do this. I wish we could do that, and it's there's a lot of yearning in this relationship that doesn't get them anywhere. It kind of stagnates. It's not really there's like no communication. There's no hugs. It's just it lacks a lot of elements, and there's no just a play. Like she feels like a play doll, the speaker. So that's subhuman. That's not.
Ooh, well said, Zach.
That's just that dynamic just can't last, and unhealthy, toxic, and it's tragic. In that last stanza too, it's clearly one-sided, and I think that it's definitely on the verge of either something needs to happen with the conversation or it's just going to end. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, it's definitely a break point there. And it's funny because the way it was presented, there's so much emotion from the writer, and it's highlighting the lack of emotion from the subject. That the emotion from the writer is actually pointing out the lack of emotion and all that from the other person in the relationship. And it was well said, well done.
Yeah.
Let's see. I'm glad you got this title, Zach, because I just looked at
it. We've got a Belladonna Nightshade, and that's Batshit Crazy.
I'll try and get that right. Well done, Zach, on the title. He broke into my window at night, squeaking and squawking in fright. A baby bat with broken wings. I wrapped him up with strings. Now he's much better, sitting upright. I read spells and cook. He spills coffee on the book. I chant and mix potions. He knocks over bottles, causing explosions. His beady eyes have a guilty look. In poem. Well, we shifted gears there, didn't we, Zach? I love the way these things go. How we read something so serious and emotional, and then we get to laugh like idiots over it.
Yeah, right. Every time, man.
I really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, me too. I could just imagine like a kind of a witchy figure brewing her potions, doing her thing, and all of a sudden, this bat, or I guess this bat comes and just what the heck, just like barrels on in, and I really like how the speaker delicately attends to the bat with strings. That's you got to think about how much time that would take to wrap up an animal, poor broken baby bat with strings. That's a delicate procedure. That initial process must take some time, and I can imagine a sort of attachment between the speaker and the bat, and obviously, I like the second stanza the best, I think, because I can just imagine the scene. The first stanza sets it up so well, you could just imagine that table, where the speaker is just brewing her potions and reading spells and cooking, doing her thing, or and the bat is just creating a ruckus around it, and that was hilarious, and causing explosions. Even that's a serious clutter, and like very self-aware of all of it going on, because the beady eyes have a guilty look, but of course I just like the free range this bat was given, and the attention to like detail for brevity. I really enjoyed it. It was like an unexpected visitor. Very well done.
This was actually so well done in that style with just 2 short stanzas. And it started, I mean, let's face it, Zach, when you were reading the title of the poem, we were both giggling. I'm surprised you got through it as clearly as you did. That's why I said I'm so glad you get to read the title of this one and not me. But I'm going to read it just for fun, okay? Bat sheet crazy. I think I did it fairly well. I like the way you did it, though. But whenever I was listening to this and reading along, the first stanza is so nurturing and so kind and soft and just genuine. You know, you could feel like there was a mothering instinct almost, where, you know, this bat's being taken in after an accident and it getting hurt, and it just sticks around and it kind of gets used to it. And the writer is used to the bat sticking around as well. And as this bat sticks around, then little things start happening. Chaos starts ensuing. Just a sweet, funny chaos, all the way down to his beady eyes have a guilty look, like he knows what he's doing after the explosions. Because it is a scream for attention, like this bat has fallen in love with this person as an equal, you know, looks at it as in kindness and stuff like that. And that's kind of what I feel like. It really is kind of a metaphor. I'm a dog person. So my dog, I could tell, you know, she could get away with murder. My wife tells me all the time, you know, you're too easy on her, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know, if she was causing explosions and stuff like that, I might have to say something, or at least clean them up and hide them from everybody else. So that's kind of what I got out of this, that it was cute and it was sweet. And it's a different, Halloween season is upon us, but it's a different kind of spin on Halloween. It's not scary or frightening at all, even though it deals with some of those creepy things like witches and bats and potions and stuff like that. But it's so humorous. It's so funny. And it's so sweet. My pet bat, prompt 3 for contest. Happy Halloween 25. Well done, Belladonna. That was fun.
It was fun.
What do we got next, Zach?
Next up, we have Farrakhan 8's poem, Soul Gets Heavy, Soul Gets Heaven, Leaving the Heart Beneath the Gray. And that's your read.
Okay. The soul and heart had a story, which are full of grief and mirth. The heart questions like this: how long shall this waiting stay awake? How long shall life remain bound to the gray? How long my journey before the path of freedom awakens? Oh, I wish to live a life where nothing matters. Life holds no love for me, but the Terra does. Oh, I wish to sleep again, but where? Ask my heart. It shall be known to thee only in the arms of nature, whispered my soul. The soul said, I have led, I will lead, and I shall live a life that is immortal. The frame may die, but I will remain, still through all my life. The heart regretted, this pulse shall never find peace like heaven, for we are confined within the arms of the frame. End poem.
Oh wow. There was a lot of it was a philosophical poem. I thought it was deep. You know, this is a forever kind of poem. This is like, the heart. It gets to the heart, which has a story, you know, and I like how this heart evolves, and asks questions about its own existence, and you know, like how it would rather be not existing as much, you know, rather not to be bound to the Terra or the Earth, but with it, but that's what it is. It's bound to that the Terra holds love for the speaker, so the speaker remains there in nature, and I like that a lot, and I think because of this, when the speaker passes on, there's a certain like peacefulness about it, like that the soul exists after the vessel, departs, and I felt like that was a great way to kind of introduce the notion of the afterlife existing, and that the notion of immortality, in a way that's ultimate peace, and I really like that, that sort of that belief that exists, the existence is that we exist after we die.
Yeah,
I think
that
that's
death is
very
not
true
death, right, Zach?
at the end.
Yep, absolutely. It's I felt very uplifted in an odd
Hmm.
way. I mean, this poem is nothing. If it's nothing, it's about death, right? But
Hmm.
I felt very uplifted in the view, and I could tell by your tone, you did too. It kind of surprised you, didn't it? It did me.
Yeah.
Yeah, with the as it come together and all this stuff, it really feels very emotionally mature and spiritually mature.
Grounded.
Like there's a wisdom, and yes, grounded. And it's funny that you use that word, because the title is "The Soul Gets Heaven," leaving
Hmm.
the heart beneath the gray. Beneath the gray, I thought this was going to be a sad piece. I really did, because it said gray in the title. But leaving the heart beneath the gray really is the soil, the dirt, the body. The body is interned there, but the spirit remains and lives on and goes and sees the next thing. So he's declaring, I'm not dead when the body gives out. I am just starting another part of the journey. And that's a very interesting look, and an interesting thought that I enjoyed. Life holds no love for me, but the Terra does. So it's almost welcoming, like I'm ready for the next phase. Like this is to me a full life lived. Not to say that somebody is ready to call it a day and move on, or whatever, but you get to a point in your growth in life where eventually you're like, I've seen everything and done everything that I want to do on this one. I'm ready for the next part. And I like that idea,
Mm.
because it gives you something, whether you're a believer in heaven from the Bible or, any other belief that you have, that it's not over when it's over here. And that's kind of a wonderful thought. And it does seem like, what'd you describe it as, Zach? A forever poem? I think you used those terms. Was that what you used here? But it
Yes.
felt like that for me. Like, you could read this poem 30 years from now and still have the same feeling. And I
Mm.
like that. I like that it's not dependent on a specific state, a specific time stamp. It could be just as good 1,000 years from now when somebody reads it. So I liked it very well. And this is a fairly new member. I think this is the first thing I've read from Farron Kane, and it was a great read. It really was enjoyable. We ready for the next one, Zach?
I think so. You read that one, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
I had to think, Zach, because I was so involved in the poem.
Yeah.
That's twice that's happened to us, isn't it?
Gotta orient. Yeah, some orientating myself.
Me too, man. Me
Yeah.
too. I was deep in my thoughts and forgot, and I thought, well, I did go last in the comments, so yes. So that's how I processed it.
All right. So this one is called "The Universal Sounds" by Unexpected Bill. Kind eyes invite everyone in, compassionate ears just listen, the heart that's filled with empathy, a soul that bleeds for those in need. Strangers feel at home in no time at all. Like Grandma's kitchen, I'm comforting. Mom, I love you dearly. This is your gift. Dad, I love you too. Intellect's what you give. I'm nothing without these contributions. I'm complete because of your strengths. The universal sounds, hear, feel, love. Do I have a magician's ear? Not quite, but I certainly do hear everything. A soft voice cracking as it begins, Talk to me, friend. Allow me to know you. My burdens have been heavy too. I understand. I know. You need someone. The gifts I possess from God and genetics. Pour out your soul. My vessel has room. Fill up my heart. Let me share your pain. Exhale your tragedies. I breathe them in. The universal sounds. Hear, feel, love. I've sinned all my life, but I have no regrets. Regret is not the past. Regret is the present. Regretting. Admitting to unlearned lessons. I've lived, I've sinned, I've learned, I've grown. My heart needs the joy, the pain, the trust, wisdom of an old bull, enthusiasm of the young, heart like a lion, soul of a warrior. My mistakes are a graceful life education, the universal sounds, hear, feel, love. I hold you all. I hug you with all of me. I cry like a guitar, one that gently weeps, unafraid of pain, unafraid of heartbreak, unafraid to be vulnerable, naked, emotional. Give to me, you give me you, I'll give you me. The universal sounds. Listen, you'll hear it. Chirp of a finch, wings of a hummingbird, silent lucidity. I'll be watching over you. The universe sings to me every single day. 16851, my favorite number. The universal sounds. Hear, feel, love. Empal.
Well done, Zach. Great read. I appreciate the pace that you read that as, and you hit every note the way I wrote it. Thank you, sir. That was a great read. I really do appreciate it. So, since you read this one, Zach, I'll comment first. So I'll tell you what I wrote this on. I wrote it. It was from a title of a song by Tyler Childers that I thoroughly enjoy, and it really chronicles. Really him as a human being, hearing all these sounds from the time he was a baby throughout his life as he grew, and how he learned to appreciate all these sounds. And I kind of spun it a little bit and made it more philosophical from my point of view, because we oftentimes don't hear these things. But I have always had this like innate ability to where people trust me or something, and they'll open up to me fairly quickly. And I've never understood where that come from until I got older and wiser. And I realized these things were things that my mom and my dad individually have. These traits are these individual things that, whether it's nature or nurture, who knows exactly, it's probably a little bit of both, taught and inherited. But I appreciate the fact that I get to share in these things, and the universal sounds are not just the music I enjoy, the sounds of nature. They're also the people I engage, the conversations I have. Those things are what make life, in my mind, worth living. And there's inherent risk to putting yourself out there and being introduced and knowing people and stuff like that. But Zach, before we started talking, I had no idea who you were. And now you're my friend, and I enjoy spending time with you. And I enjoy the universal sounds that come from you that I get to celebrate, that I get to hear, that I get to be involved in. That's what this piece is. It is, from me, it is thanking everyone for the gifts that I get in sharing my life with you and your life with me. And it's a wonderful, freeing feeling. So tell me what you got out of it, Zach. I'd love to hear.
This was like, it gives me some insight, I think, of yourself, really, or the speaker, at least. Speaker, self speaker, they're kind of tricky sometimes. But anyway, I just like the speaker's sense of awareness. The speaker knows himself very well, and is not afraid to share the gifts within with anyone, really, that's friendly and willing to and willing to kind of like be friendly back. And I just like how there's like a nostalgia here, how I get a sense of how the speaker was brought up, and how these sounds, these universal sounds, come from that sort of that upbringing. That's kind of like the foundation where those sounds come from. The rest of the sounds, I mean, for the speaker, the rest of the speaker's life, that initial first stanza, that childhood stanza, that's where they come from, and they just kind of expand outwards. And he is very aware of, strengths and limitations of the self, that sort of thing. Not with the musician's ear, but definitely hearing everything. I like that a lot. That's that's a discerning kind of ear. And this the self seeks company too. And as it's a human thing, the one to connect with other humans. And it's a very self-affirming piece. That speaker writes of himself as a sinner, and yet still has grown from all that, regretting nothing and changing at a pace that is that the trajectory is easy to adjust to. I think not easy to adjust to, but like there's a smooth curve. It's a smooth poem, I think. Mm-hmm. And I like the the dichotomy between the wisdom of the old bull and the enthusiasm of the young. So there's like I think that too. I think like there's definitely a youthful energy within this poem. And it definitely an energy. And it's really like the speaker is giving all of himself in this poem, 100%, like unafraid, head first, right in the deep end, just bold, really, really bold, and wanting to strike out and do something like kind of like almost like not going out into the unknown, but ready to be prepared to like what happens next. I think that's what it gives.
Excited about it, Zach.
Yeah,
excited about every interaction. That's exactly what it is. Every interaction. You and I have interacted on philosophical bases for a long time, and I get excited to share those thoughts and share that stuff, and that's what it is. Well said,
great.
Zach.
Thanks. I hope I was hitting that okay, because I was I was racking my brain, man.
Man, you were hitting it. You were hitting all the right notes, picking up on the wisdom of the old bull and enthusiasm of the young. The reason those lines are in there is because I'm wiser now because I'm older, but I'm still enthusiastic to meet people,
right?
To get to know them, to share me with them and them with me. So you got it all. Let's move on. What's next, Zach?
Next up, we have Harmonia Erotica, Strange Happening.
That one, I get to read that one, don't I?
Yes.
All right. I'll try and do you justice, buddy. All the guests drank and sang, but she sung. The matriarch's lovely little girl, a foreign tongue. Her face peered ahead, washed of all clarity. A blank gaze, her expression robbed of vivacity. Glowing with the feverish blush of the damned. Floating to the table's center, an object in hand, chanting the words, yet she was not heard. Until she put the knife at her throat, they stirred. Gasping, dropping their cutlery with a clatter, she slit her young neck with dramatic spatter. Years later, a medium lights candles on the table. Swaths of blood line the dim walls. Is he able? But the blood is not hers. Behind him, a giggle. In poem. I feel like you got a little tricky there, Zach. That was a good one. You did get a little tricky, but I'm going to tell you, you gave me some hints there. Okay, and I know it's intentional, but all the guests drank and sang, but she sung. When I read that line, I thought, what are we dealing with here? Because she's past tense. She sung, but all the rest of the guests drank and sang. So I was thinking, well, something tragic happened here. something really bad happened here, and it appears to be a murder. is the way I was reading it. Then there's the artwork. I'm going to ask you a direct question. Did you do the artwork, or is this artwork the prompt?
Oh, I did I wrote the poem first, and then I did the artwork via like an AI creation tool.
So it's your artwork. Okay.
Yes.
So that's right. That's your vision of, so it's a seance is what we're talking about here. We're talking about a seance. And actually, I'm going to read, let's see there. You didn't really give away. Oh, okay. There you did. There's like 4 lines down. This is ready for reading on the Literary Seance podcast. and this one too. So this is an interesting piece, because you gave those little hints in that first stanza. You gave those little hints of what was happening, but it kind of, the drama just ramped up as we go down. Like I was still questioning if the person was dead, if it was an apparition, or if it was in the moment happening. So this had happened in the past, which you indicated with she sung. So that was the past, and it made me start thinking. So as amusing as this was, because it was actually fairly amusing to read because of the story and how it flowed, and it caught me off guard, just single lines at a time. It was moving through the story in such a great fun pace that was easy to read and very, very specific. But then I got to, it's a seance. Like he's summoning spirits, and he's talking to this little girl who was murdered. It sounds like, and I enjoyed that because it was creepy and it was subtle though. But the swaths of blood line the dim walls. Is he able? But the blood is not hers. Behind him, a giggle. The blood is not hers, but behind him a giggle. So she's there, getting ready to kill him. Well done, sir. I gathered that in that last line where you did that. I was like, oh, I get it. He was getting me to think about this apparition, like they were just, summoning her and talking to her, and this story is happening. But oh no, she's there ready to go. She's getting ready to kill him.
Oh yeah,
and she's giggling about it. So I appreciated that, Zach. You wrapped it up real nicely, and it was a serious piece in a creepy way, but it was also giggly, and that's hard to accomplish. So you did very well there, and I love being twisted. That's why I like reading it. I was like, yes,
me too, man.
It's a twist. So go ahead, man. I've got all mine out there. Tell me the truth.
This one was inspired probably by mostly The Exorcist. I think I had an idea that the little girl was definitely possessed, but rather, she does this. I was initially taken by that scene in The Exorcist where, there's that sort of get together in the living room and everyone's having a drinking good time at the party, even religious figures are drinking, and Reagan walks in and says, "You're all going to die up there." But rather, in this poem, she slits her throat rather than doing something else. And which I thought was a little bit more dramatic. But rather if you look at like the very end, it says, "Swaths line the dim walls, is he able?" But the blood was not hers. So when she slit her own throat, she didn't really do it. It wasn't really like her own blood. It was like just, she slit her own throat, but the act of doing that made everyone else in the party, their guests, lose their own blood. That's what was on the wall. I was trying
God, I can't believe I missed that, Zach, stuck.
I tried to
stuck
hide
on
that.
a ghost, man.
You
I
know?
was stuck
Like,
on a ghost.
I was like, I tried to like put some clues that those were that the dinner guests were all murdered, but it was very difficult for me to do that.
You were so subtle through it. I had thought stuck in my head, and I'm glad you explained that to me because it makes perfect sense now. But it isn't like I didn't feel like I missed anything on it. I think because I thought it was a ghost that I just stayed in that perspective all the way through. But
Right.
the major points were right there, and that is so funny that the way you wrote that, it was so funny in the subtlety, but like I was giggling and I felt like I shouldn't giggle. Honestly, I was like, people are dying. I shouldn't be giggling or getting ready to die. So well done. And I'm glad you explained that to me. This is the wonderful thing, guys. And I'm going to take this time to point this out. Zach and I are not professional poet critiquers or anything like that. We are lovers of poetry, and we love these exchanges where, we read poems and both of our perspectives are different. And obviously, Zach being the writer of this poem, he knows what he intended in the right. But there's never any wrong in your critiques. There's never any wrong. You may not get exactly what the author intended, but you're going to get something out of it that's special to you based on your own experiences. And that's the point, Zach. And I'm glad you helped me clarify what I missed in your piece. And I still loved it. I still thought it was a great piece. My interpretation of it brought me great joy. So that matters too, sir.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely. Thank you for commenting on the piece. I'm glad it. I figured you would enjoy it. That's why
did. I really did, Zach. I was giggling. I wonder what we're going to have now because we've been so serious and so funny and so silly.
Yeah.
What are we going to do now? We've been philosophical.
This one has a title. This title is pretty much kind of brings it to a different sort of mood. This is by JEG 325, and this is Ashes of Charred Dreams, and I'll give that a read. A window painted in cold gray, clouds hanging like dirty linen, memories spinning through dark mist on drifting winds of the unforgiven, tangled inside a twisted web, sliced by daggers' sharp deception, scattered embers of past flames scorched earth for your inspection. Love wasn't conceived after all, for on the day we met, it perished. Seems ashes of charred dreams were the only things you've cherished. End poem.
Well, we got deep emotional there.
That was
we sure did, didn't
wow.
we?
Yeah.
It's, Jeg 325 is really good. Every poem I think I've ever read of his is about this length. There's no epics. There's no real shorter ones. They all stay about this length. And within this, it's not like a cookie cutter formula. That's not what I mean. But he's very comfortable writing these lengths of poems. So he knows when he starts about when he's going to conclude. And that's hard for me to do. I can't say at the beginning roughly how long a poem's going to be because it takes me however long it takes me to get to the end of that thought. But he's so consistent in his lengths. He stays right there and he writes so much emotion and thought in those few lines. And this is about regret. It's filled with regret after, this relationship that is either already ended and he's looking back, the writer's looking back, or if it's about a relationship that he's seeing is going to end. It's definitely bad, negative vibes all the way around. And to say in the author's notes what he said, the day he fell in love with her was the days his dreams were burnt to black cinders. So that author's notes, that little bit of author's notes really summed it up. And it was a destruction, a destruction, like a mutual destruction, and the burning, and turning to ash, and there it is. Everything's, the person is just right there, and this is all that's remaining, after that. So then there should be, post fact, the building back from the ashes, coming, the rising, it's cliche, the phoenix rising from the ashes, blah blah blah. That's kind of the next phase, and you get there in your own time, in your own way, and sometimes you got to write about it quite a bit before you get there. So this is a great poem. I really love the emotion. I love the ownership, I think, of it, recognition, not ownership, recognition, more than anything, that this is the end. And, I'm ashes. The writer's charred ashes and ready to move on. Your thoughts, Zach?
Yeah. This one was dark and cold. Absence of warmth. Lots of grays, like looking through a window that's partially covered with rain and mist. Like that's how it seems like the speaker is looking through the past almost, and it's like a kind of a distorted view because of the twisted web sliced by daggers of sharp deception. So it's a very it's like almost like it's more dense than like a funhouse mirror. And these scattered embers of past flames, there's no warmth in there. This this relationship anymore. They're wherever they are, they're just it's becoming smoke. And there was a spark initially, but it didn't kindle and catch. And like the love has the potential to do. It just kind of burnt out. And I really like the rhyming of perished and cherished, the way that was kind of interspaced in those last two stanzas. It read perfectly at the end. It was the tone was solemn and mournful. Definitely a change of pace. Really well done.
Yeah, really well done indeed. So I had one final thought that we kind of danced around it. You and I both did, Zach. It seems like that the passion was hot. It was burning hot early, and
right, exactly.
Yeah. So we both got the same thing out of it. Where are we at now, Zach?
Next up we have Indigo K's poem, and that's entitled Raven.
Well, this is a first read from this poet too for me. There I sat in the dark, drifting. Then came the sound, a tapping, tipping, clicking on my chamber door. I knew it was a visitor knocking, so I took a breath in, locking of my thoughts of my late wife, Lenore. Depression came upon me, pressed its horrid self upon my chest as I made my way to the door. Why do you wake me? I yell through the wood, and do tell why no one is behind the door. I stared out into the dark, the fear that sat, leaving a mark, hearing only the whispered, Lenore. I closed the door. I turned inside, all my soul yearning to hide, as tapping on my window called me more. So open the curtains flew, and there sat a raven, black and blue, sitting there above my door. Then I smiled through the pane and asked him kindly for his name. But quoth the raven, nevermore. Eyebrows together, I wondered then why he chose me to visit when he had such a name as Nevermore. I knew he'd leave me soon enough. You'll leave me, just as did my love. But quoth the raven, nevermore. The raven stood unblinking, while I simply sat here thinking about why he told me nevermore. Then I realized he was God sent. I told the bird to repent for making me grieve again, my Lenore. Raven, tell me, heal me, prove, up the angels. Is there, my love? But quoth the raven, nevermore. Then leave me now, bird of sorrow. Leave me here before tomorrow. But quoth the raven, nevermore. And I sat there in despair, the raven's wings flitting in the air, knowing he will stay there forevermore. End poem. That was interesting.
Yeah, no
That was
doubt.
really interesting. So there's obvious things there, Zach. Give her a go. I got to hear your thoughts.
Yeah. Wow. This one, of course, a homage, a rewrite to Edgar Allan Poe's The Raven. This one employs a different sort of rhyme scheme. It does have the assonance of the or and the more as Poe's did, but this also has a different sort of rhyme pattern to it too. That it's very that just reads differently and smooth. It's smooth and it makes it distinguishes itself from the original, I think, especially in the aspect of the speaker getting angry at the bird, at the raven for reminding him of his loss. I thought that was just got to think about that. Like just a man in or a person speaker in yelling at a bird in his house. That there's something haunting about that just while the bird is contemplating him and he's contemplating the bird, there's like a silence between them, and then he breaks out, he's just yelling at him, and there's a, of course, that he would that he takes that bird's presence as like an omen, or that bird is there to stay, and is symbolic of his grief for his lost love, which is reaffirmed through the repetition, and I really like that. And yeah, it's a homage. It reads very smoothly. It's not a modernization or like anything like that. It's a reinterpretation and a homage to the poem. And this, I think Poe would enjoy this himself. I really enjoyed it too.
That last thing, Zach, you said, I think is true too. And I'm going to tell you something. I got tricked, okay? Because even without reading the author's notes, which I like to read after, I recognized very quickly that this was a rewrite of The Raven by Edgar Allan Poe. I recognize this is a reimagination of it. Rewrite. I don't want to, make it sound like a parody, because it wasn't. This has its own depth and its own everything, but it put it in my brain so much that the first time I read the word quoth, I said quote, and because I thought it was a typo. I did. I thought it was a typo because I was in that Poe thing, which was intentional. This author has written this intentionally, Indigo K did, as a reimagining of Poe, and clearly states that in the author's notes, which, we didn't need to figure that out because it paralleled but had its own rhyme scheme that was just a little different. There were little tweaks here and there to make it pay homage, but not copy or not reinvent or not rewrite. And it was really neat in that way, because it had that feel that, Poe could write, and recognize Poe when you read it because of the feeling of it. And I felt like it was a very proper homage to the original poem, The Raven, which this came from, got its inspiration from. And I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the heck out of it. And the fact that there was, nevermore and forevermore and all those words used kind of in a similar way, obviously, but with a changed rhyme scheme and all that. This to me is a very, very good homage to a previously written poem, because even without me knowing it was an homage to a previously written famous poem, I recognized it enough to where I misspoke the first time I seen the word quaff. So that actually stuck in my brain. It was so well done that it made me say the wrong word the first time I seen it. And then I realized when I read down, oh no, that's intentional. It wasn't a typo. So I appreciate that. I do appreciate that. And I'm sorry I missed it the first time. But as we do this live, Zach, what do we always say to each other? It is so wonderful when the light comes on, when it clicks to the reader, when you're halfway through it and you're like, bang, got it. So that's what happened to me here, guys, and you got to hear it live. What do we got next, Zach?
Next up, we have Dongon Zeta's poem, and that's Beating Hearts. And this is inspired by The Silence of the Lambs, and I'll give that a read. Finesse, grace, hard qualities to come by, especially in those who are too one-sided. A yin needs a yang. I can smell your ambition. I admire this, so I try to hide it. Peel back the layers on meaningful tricks. These games are simply all I have got. My eyes long for a room with a view. What did he say to you? I, for one, cannot. I don't see what we have in common, but I find I am drawn to your black heart, serenading me with memories fallen, as this little lamb lay cold in the dark. Though I know the worst man you can be, I still long for that single touch. Your voice excites, terrifies me. It is getting to be too much. Been kind to me. Would not do you wrong. Rude people are more akin to my taste. Besides, I fear you would try to follow along. Stifle attempts to bite off the hands of fate, but alas, I must go. Time flies when having fun. Oh, how I wish I could watch your eyes shimmer. I am sorry, Clarice, but I must be going now. I'm having an old friend for dinner. Dr. Lecter, Dr. Lecter, Dr. Lecter, and poem.
Oh, that's a fun revisit there. So it's funny, as you were reading through that, I was like going through my brain, and all I could come up with was Jodie Foster. That's all I could come up with. I was like, Jodie Foster. What's the character's name? Thank God it was put in there. And I was like, ding, 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 chicken dinner. This is good stuff. It really is, because I know it's not quotations from the movie, but it captures everything that was the spirit of those exchanges that were just so fascinating from a psychological point of view. Because who isn't, if you're not overtly a serial killer groupie or whatever, the whole psychology of that, I will personally admit that I spend way too much time watching and reading things about killers because the psychology of it is fascinating. And that's the study of the character Hannibal Lecter, excuse me, in the movie. But it was so neat, the thing about the movie that I believe this poem captures, and it was the most important part of the movie. It wasn't the appalling character and what Hannibal Lecter did. It was how close Clarice came to him with the conversations, and how you could see how fascinated she was, even though her character was trying to hide how fascinated she was with him. It was there, and it was apparent. He had this charisma. The character had charisma, and it was attractive. And Clarice was attracted to that, the intellect, all of it, and the mystery. And it was a game of chess. They were playing a game of chess the whole time. He was dropping hints and telling her about this and that and the other. And then he would distract her with something else and bring it full circle back to a lesson that told her something that she wanted to know. but he wasn't very overt and out front about it. And that was the draw to that character. One of the best characters I think that I've ever seen personally in a movie that was well developed, and so well developed that there were sequels and prequels. And that's always a kudo to the character more so than the movie. So I appreciate how it captured all of that. It was a great piece in that way. What are your thoughts, Zach?
I thought that this piece really captures the dense and layered interactions between the characters in the Thomas Harris novel. This you could see Hannibal placing those breadcrumbs, for Clarice to follow.
Breadcrumbs. That's right, Zach. Well said.
Yeah, and she's just like, and she follows it, because she's drawn to it in such a way that it almost becomes it's her job, sure, but it becomes, I think it becomes a bit more than that, her involvement. And like, of course, I think I was like, this is from the perspective of, I believe it's Hannibal, because he still longs for that single touch, because they do share, Clarice and Hannibal, they do share 1 second of a touch between the barrier, when Hannibal is in the ward for the criminally insane, and I think it was and that really captures those interactions. This piece between Clarice and Hannibal, especially, that was the heart and soul of the movie and book for me, were those interactions, and that's like the crux, the thing that really holds it all together. Without that relationship, it wouldn't be as just as iconic as it is, and this poem really captures that to me, and especially that iconic closing line, "I'm having an old friend for dinner." How could you not?
Yeah.
If you've seen that movie, you got to read it like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you're right. It put me in the mood for some fava beans and a nice Chianti. So I agree with you, Zach. We both said the same thing. It captured the spirit of those interactions and the core of the movie. That touch you were talking about, it was very important to it. You're absolutely correct. Well done, man. Really, I really like that piece. It really put us in a moment, didn't it?
Oh yeah, that one was what a Halloween poem that was.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. So what do we got next?
Oh, next up we have Symphony 8's poem, and that's entitled "You Are My Rose, My Amor," and that's yours.
Knocking 3 times at your door, here I'll place love, my deepest amour. Standing away, impatient as sores, slowly healing, devastated, ashore. Scarlet fever, torn by each petal. Passion for you, my energy unsettled. Missing you, no throned stern perils. From forgiveness, immaturity threatens. Warmth, intimacy, darling, please see. Anything said, like a genie, set free. Bitterness, hate, unsatisfaction. Oh, baby, just open the door before life is waiting. Crimson tears melt from its stem, remaining vows that once said, where my love I will await and tread. United under God, we must stay embellished. You are my rose, my amour, my life, dancing with tread. In poem.
Wow. This was gorgeous.
Wasn't it?
Yeah.
Slack-jawed, Zach. I was slack-jawed.
It was beautiful and heartbreaking. This speaker has a kind of a deep commitment, um, and it's impatient. You know, it's impatient as sores slowly healing. Because that takes, there's a certain that's a kind of an itch, right? And I can sense like there's that kind of like a sense of unfulfilled passion here, despite that the speaker is basically so passionate and because this person, the speaker rather, is, I think this is a one-sided thing because the other is so far away. I sense that that anything like warmth is just it's waiting, or lacking the warmth, I should say. So the waiting becomes like a cold period. And from that you have bitterness, hate, and unsatisfaction. Why have all that? According to the piece, we can just open the door. And I just really, I really like the last stanza. Well, before the last line, how the crimson tears melt from the rose's stem. You know, that's like a lamentation of the love that once was. I think the speaker recognizes that heartbreak, and despite it kind of moves on with that heartbreak and keeps it. And I don't want to say like she's better for it, the speaker, I should say, right? Like it's definitely a lesson learned, and it was tragic. It's beautiful, sad. Yeah, it's just it's a deep rumination of what could have been, and yeah, I really heartbreaking.
Absolutely, Zach. It was really heartbreaking, but you know, I looked at, as the read progressed, I looked at the prompt, and then I went down and I read, for contest, the end of heartache, image prompt. Images of prompts, and then the rules. So then I studied the image while processing the poem, and I think this poem captures everything in front of this moment where the speaker, who I'm envisioning, is the shadowed, distant figure walking away that just placed that rose at a door. And when I first looked at this, the rose being the brightest color, I focused on it, and I didn't actually see the person there, and I didn't actually see the door. So whenever I was listening to this being read and I was processing it, and then I looked at the picture, these things work hand in hand so well together that it made me realize, oh, this is not the heartbreak itself. This is not a person being upset and all that stuff. This is them, the final act of saying goodbye and remembering everything after the breakup. Like, you know, okay, here's this rose. I'm leaving it at your doorstep. I'm going to knock 3 times, walk away. You'll get this rose. And that's the end. That's the last. I'm ready to move on. It doesn't speak of a blossoming new relationship or anything like that. This is somebody finding themselves post breakup, I think. And that moment when they want to declare it to the person that they broke up with.
It's like a friendly token.
The rose. Yes. Yeah. It's almost forgiveness. There's a kind softness.
There. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly right, Zach. That's exactly what I was feeling from it too, where there was no animosity, no hatred. The fighting's over. Okay, we loved and we lost. Here you go. Have a good life. I'm going to have a good life. If we've learned, it's to our benefit. That's a great piece. It was a really great piece to read. what do we got next, Zach?
Oh, let's see. Uh, um, Next up we have Merv's piece, and that's entitled "The Ballad of Davy Davies." And I'll give that a read. The clock on the wall said 4:45, and Davy wished he was something more. He sat at the desk in his cubicle beige, a man in the middle of life's great gray stage. He dreamed of the days when he'd wielded a brush of canvases bright in an artistic rush, but now it was quarterly reports he would file, and his heart hadn't painted in a long, long while. He wore the correct tie, he nodded on cue. He took his 2 weeks in a cottage built new. He looked at his wife, at the children asleep, and wondered what promises had failed to keep. He bought a new car with a suitable sheen to drive to a place where he had never been. But the road only went to the corporate park, and his secret ambition was lost in the dark. One night the wind whistled and rattled the pane, and Davy thought he was going insane. He locked himself up in the bathroom with steam and imagined he sailed on a wild painted stream. He saw himself young with a smock and a grin in Paris where life was about to begin. He took up a palette he mixed up with the blue, and the world he lived in completely withdrew. He painted a picture of waves running high where a clipper ship flew neath a turbulent sky. He stood in the hallway, his fingers were stained, and he took his wife gently. "I'm getting it framed." She shook her head sadly and poured out the tea. "Oh, Davy, you know that's not really you, is it? See, that ship has no anchor. It's just in your head." And the artist called Dave Davies went back to his bed. The reports were all filed, and the car was still bright. He still wore the right tie, and he still said good night. But sometimes he looked at the turbulent blue, and he smiled at the life that he almost broke through. And out on the sea, in the frame on the wall, the clipper ship sailed, but answered no call. And
Great read, Zach. That's a nice one. It was titled "The Ballad of Davy Davies" by Merv. Merv, I really like this one. It spoke of, to me, regret for a path that wasn't chosen due to responsibility and longing and things like that. You know, the love of the woman, his wife, and the choice of having a family and the responsibility of that versus living that artist's dream where you're broke and you're in Greenwich Village or wherever the community is, Paris in this case, and you're painting and you're doing these things and there's that vision and there's all of that stuff. But it's like wonder more than sadness or regret. I think I used the word regret early, and I ironically regret using the word regret. It's more about wondering where that path would have went. And he's looking at the picture he painted and he gets lost in that moment when he looks at it. And that's enough inspiration for him to keep going to his accounting job or whatever it is where he's filing papers and doing those routine, mundane things, but he still has that spirit in him that lives on. And this painting, the colors of the blue, the ocean and things like that he's referring to, that he looks at, takes him back to that moment, which is enough for him to keep going. Because clearly, this is a poem about choices, about life, about love, about that family, that job, those responsibilities, but also the individual is an artist, and you don't change. You can move through life without living that artist's lifestyle and live a quote unquote normal lifestyle where you're a productive member of society, but then you lose that artist's flair. And this is how Dave Davies keeps that artist alive. So I very much liked it. It's a great message to keep the art alive. Well done, Merv. Zach, your thoughts?
It's a beautiful piece. I enjoyed the narrative, and the structure was very simple. Not simple, sorry. Very easy to read because it flowed effortlessly. Um, it was like written in a certain meter, rhythmic meter that made it flow. And the rhyming was an added bonus. I always like that. Merv writes very nice rhyme poems, and this one is quite a feat because it's longer, and there's a lot going on. It's a whole person's his artistic livelihood, what it becomes or how he nurtures it, and it comes from a place of like deep introspection, kind of. I hesitate to call it madness. Because in this case, Davey thought he was going insane. He locked himself up like that. So, I mean, he there might be a sense that like some isolation brought out like a creative sort of kick in him. And he got to Paris, and he joined that sort of that artist that he connected with that artist in himself. But his wife questioned it in a sad sort of way, but he felt like it was still himself. And he does his life became something else. I think, like, because the way things happened, whatever that means, he just ended up as the speaker ended up as a person filing papers rather than committing to his true passion. He commits to it still, but I'm sure that would have been that would have brought more joy as like a source of maybe income or happiness, whatever you want to call it, merged together. Livelihood. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a bitterness at the end because he smiles at the life that almost broke through, and
little bit of bitterness,
a little
right?
bit,
Yeah.
And
there was that tone, wasn't there, Zach? And
yeah.
I used the word regret, and it all kind of ties in. Like he accepts who he is, and he's comfortable with who he is and what his life's brought. But he looks back and he thinks, man, what would I have done had I stuck it out? Had I done that?
Woulda, coulda.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you never know. And that's the point of this piece.
That's
and,
right.
Boy, we got through it. I wanted to mention too, I'm not usually, I don't read as well with a centerline poem. I don't know why. Maybe it's just force of habit or whatever, but this one was different. It seemed right, center aligned, didn't it?
It did.
When you read it.
Yeah.
I think it helped the rhythm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it helped the rhythm because the rhymes were more obvious and everything was there. And so center lined, it really, really done well. And it was a great read. Boy, we did it, Zach. We've been almost 2 hours.
Oh, wow.
I know. I just looked at the clock. I was like, holy cow, we gotta get the music playing and things like that. So we covered a lot of ground here. I don't know how many poems we read. We did the
there's a number.
They just keep hitting us from all directions, don't they? Joe said 13 poems. Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
She's on the board. She counted them. So again, guys, the poet of the month, the first poet of the month, was just awesome to read. It was. You guys did so well.
Thanks to Mike again. Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks to Mike Horsfall. That was amazing.
It was what a great piece and what a great bunch of pieces.
Oh, absolutely.
Congratulations to Mike.
The whole show.
Yeah. Aren't we lucky, Zach?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know we say it over and over again, but guys, we want to share it with you too, and share it more active. Joe, you're treading here. You're starting to contribute via the board quite a bit. Be careful. We're going to try to drag you in. We need another voice. And Tressa Rose was actually going to be on this show with us, but work got in the way. Understand, Tressa? Believe me, I've been trying to squeeze stuff in all week, and I'm doing a bunch of overtime and stuff like that. Life happens. Isn't that appropriate, though, Zach? The Ballad of David Davies was the one we read, and life happens. It does. Sometimes it gets in the way of the joys, the things we want to do just for fun and artistic abilities.
But we get through it.
Like that. We sure do.
It's all good in the end.
A couple hours a week, man.
Yeah.
We have a good time living the dream, don't we?
Sure do.
Uh-oh, Zach. I know what that means. I know what that means. It means the dream is coming to its conclusion for this week, isn't it?
No. Yep.
Yes.
Time to wake up for the week and get back to our lives and join up again next week, right?
A nice, smooth, easy exit versus a harsh alarm saying, get to it, boy.
Yeah.
always like this. Zach, as always, man, it's been a great time. And
Likewise, Bill.
Yeah,
always a good time.
Always have a good time doing it, man.
Yeah.
Always do. And all you Parchies out there, I'm serious. If you keep commenting, Joe, you're going to have to call at some point in time. Tressa, good to see you. I don't think I said hi, but I see you're on the board.
Good to see you, Tressa.
Let's see, did I miss anybody? Oh, Noel. All right, Parchies, get those quills moving again.
See you next week.
We'll have show 4 next week. We'll see. We're trying to keep it very consistent on the time frame here, Zach. So you have a good week, sir, and I will talk to you sometime here in the near future. All right.